We got one more on the slate here. This one starts at 10:30 Eastern time on ESPN Plus. Incarnate Word taking on Sacramento State. Sacramento State still unbeaten. However, it was pretty close last week in that one. Now, I know you stated before we talked a little off air, you said, they were beat. They should have been beat last week against Richmond. Incarnate Word as well had a pretty tough go. Both these teams just snuck into the quarterfinals. It's pretty interesting that they're taking on each other, Steve.
Yeah, and then with Sacramento State, when we first did just a generic preview of the FCS playoff bracket, I had said Sacramento State is going to win it all. And that's not a knock against South Dakota State or any other team. But what I saw in that game against Richmond really disheartened me. And I know the conditions were terrible. It was a steady rain. It was really a heavy rain, in the third quarter on. But they live and die by the run, and they just couldn't, and they died. Okay, they were averaging about 2 yards a carry in that game. Their quarterback, when they had to try to go through it, he threw 3 interceptions. Again, conditions not great, but still, there were a lot of people that were doing articles or reviewing Sacramento State and even questioning why they were a 2 seed despite their terrific record because of some inconsistent and some sloppy play. So based on what I saw, I'm a little concerned that Sacramento State can live up to that number 2 seed. And Incarnate Word has the best quarterback remaining in the FCS. Lindsey Scott Jr. threw for 5 scores. Now he did technically throw. I saw that in the preview article. I had to laugh. He did technically throw for 6 because he did throw a pick. He did throw a pick 6, but Furman has impressed us. I mean, we've talked about Furman a couple times.
Certainly
during the course of the season, and Incarnate Word found a way to keep Furman off the board for the most part, at critical times. And I think with the quarterback play, I really think that Incarnate Word is going to keep that magic, that San Antonio magic going, because you've got Division III Trinity's undefeated. You've got RUTSA Roadrunners and Incarnate Word. They've been there before. I mean, they're not strangers to big games. And they're certainly not strangers to depending, on a quarterback. I think Scott is going to do enough, and it's probably going to lead them to a late drive. And I really think that Incarnate Word is going to nip Sacramento State there with probably a minute or 2 left in the game, and that'll be enough.
Scott threw 49 passing attempts last week. I can see that happening again. I can see them being very pass heavy against the Sacramento State team. They might have to. The over-under on this game is 76.5 points. That's how high this one is, because both these teams can put up points. I think that is something that to keep in mind. Sacramento State actually is a 6-point favorite, so I know you'd be in favor of taking Incarnate Word here.
Yes.
Sacramento State, though, what we saw last week against Richmond, but then what we've seen in games past, right? We've seen them against Weber State look really good. They played really well against Idaho. Both of those were 3-point wins, but they were really tough wins. And those were playoff teams this year as well. The Richmond game, though, as you mentioned, they just got snuck by in this one. I'm with you. I think we can get some more San Antonio magic in here and see Incarnate Word get a win. I'm looking forward to maybe seeing them in the semifinals. That'd be pretty cool.